Here's what your brain looks like on LSD. And no, that level of brain activity is not normal. Most scientists aren't legally allowed to study psychedelics, so these are the first images ever to show patients tripping, with the incredible detail of modern technology. It's part of a study that's changing the way we understand our own minds. Researchers scanned 20 participants with an fMRI machine after injecting them with 75 micrograms of LSD. That's a pretty low dose, so they weren't exactly fried. But it was still enough for the scientists to see some major effects. LSD disrupts a high-level brain system that controls abstract thought. So when you're tripping, different brain regions can communicate with each other, way more than usual. And that leads to the drug's most well-known effects, like hallucination. This part of the brain processes what we see and imagine. It normally sends that information to this region, which helps encode memories and make mental images. When patients were on LSD, those regions stopped communicating like they normally do. But things really went nuts when the researchers turned on music, which, makes sense. Suddenly, their memories started shooting signals to the visual processing part of the brain, leading to some pretty complex visions. LSD can also make people lose their sense of self, and here's why. Higher level networks are what maintain order in the brain, but on LSD, those disintegrate, and unrelated parts of the brain suddenly start communicating. So then, people's thoughts and the outside world start to feel like the same thing, a mix of visuals, impressions, and ideas. That's what you feel when you're tripping. Here's how one test subject described it.
There was quite a lot of sensation. At some stages it felt like I lost contact with my body.
But it's not just about the trip. Mind-altering drugs can have an effect on your personality even weeks after tripping. In follow-up sessions, participants were more open to new ideas and experiences. This is pretty cool, especially because it suggests lots of possible medical applications. If LSD can free people from their typical thought patterns, it could be a breakthrough treatment for depression. And the network that LSD disrupts has also been associated with addiction, which means trip treatments could actually help relieve alcoholism or similar diseases. Some researchers also want to study altered mental states to learn more about mental illness. Of course, LSD research has its hurdles. It's hard to get legal permission to access the drug. It's certainly not hard to find participants, but it can be hard to make them feel safe tripping in a lab, which can have an effect on the results.
If you're relaxing on a beach, beautiful bit of nature, totally relaxed, I think it's much easier to access that part of your psyche, of your brain. But when you're in this research environment and the research is everywhere, it's quite an invasive MRI machine, and I think that's probably less likely to happen.
It might not be the ideal way to trip, but studying LSD in a lab could be the breakthrough that scientists need to understand how our brains work.